A Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Hitler's Furies, German Women in the Nazi Killing Fields, written by Wendy Lauer. Perpetrators. The first Nazi mass murderess was not the concentration camp guard, but the nurse. Of all the female professionals, she was the deadliest. Centrally planned mass killing operations began neither in the gas chambers at Auschwitz nor in the mass shooting sites of Ukraine. They began instead in the hospitals of the Reich. The first methods were the sleeping pill, the hypodermic needle, and starvation. The first victims were children. During the war, nurses gave thousands of deformed babies and disabled adolescents overdoses of barbiturates, lethal injections of morphine, and denied them food and water. All of this was done in the name of progress and the health of the nation. In the late 19th century, the modern science of genetics spawned the international field of eugenics, a term defined in the subtitle of a 1910 book by an American leader in the field, Harvard-educated Charles Davenport. Eugenics, the science of human improvement by better breeding. In German circles, eugenics was also known as racial hygiene, and it was aimed more specifically at policies to increase the Aryan population. Inherited genetic defects and traits were understood as racial or group manifestations that defined humanity's different civilizations, some deemed more advanced than others, all of them competing for survival. Racism, like nationalism, was viewed positively. Progress, imagined in German ideals of beauty and conduct, could be achieved only by removing humanity's blights. In the hands of revolutionary zealots, Nazi men and women of action, this science of human inequality had to be taken as far as it could go. Biological manipulations and sterilizations were insufficient to achieve the goal of Aryan perfection through social engineering, and segregation was not enough either. The only total final solution to the problem of racial degeneration was to destroy the contaminant, starting with defective, in inverted commas, Germans. Misleadingly termed euthanasia or mercy killing, the top-secret program was personally authorized by Adolf Hitler and carried out under the cover of war. From its beginnings in the Reich and before the Nazi invasion of Poland, the euthanasia program involved the recruitment of female midwives and of medical personnel, both doctors and nurses. These professionals would eventually murder more than 200,000 people in Germany, Austria, and the annexed Reich borderlands of Poland and the Czech lands. Close to 400 medical institutions would become stationary murder operations of racial screening and selection, cruel experimentation, mass sterilization, starvation, and poisoning. In the weeks before the Nazi invasion of Poland, the Reich Ministry of the Interior demanded reports from physicians and midwives identifying newborn infants and children under the age of 3 with severe physical and mental disabilities. Mothers were pressured to hand over their diseased, in inverted commas, children to so-called pediatric clinics, which became processing and killing centers. As many as 8,000 children were killed in Germany and Austria before the program was expanded to target adults. The categories of incurable illnesses and disabilities, including feeble-mindedness, criminal insanity, and dementia, became ever more blurred. Mass shootings of Polish psychiatric patients began in Konradstein in September 1939. In October 1939 came the unprecedented mass gassing of patients from the asylum in Owinska, who were brought to Fort 7 in Poznan, where a rudimentary stationary chamber had been sealed with clay, an experiment that Himmler himself would observe in December 1939. SS and police mobile killing units swept through Poland and later through the Baltics, Ukraine and Belarus, shooting thousands of patients in asylums and hospitals and gassing others in mobile vans. Back in the Reich, in the asylums at Grafenek and Hadamar, our hospital clerical staff typed up death notices and, as we have seen, processed shipments of common ashes to the victims' families. With Hitler's backing, medical health professionals and their technical experts developed a new genocidal expertise, which they applied to ever larger operations of mass murder in the more remote Eastern territories. In late 1941 and early 1942, scientists, engineers, crematorium stokers, drivers, and medical staff were transferred to Belarus and Poland to implement stationary gassing methods first tested on Soviet POWs and later used against Jews in Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka. The Operation Reinhard killing centers. Human beings became cargo, guinea pigs, and ashes. Please pass on this